Welcome to the Dusty Futon Musicians Podcast. The Dusty Futon is revolutionizing the music industry one artist at a time. Every episode of the Dusty Futon features an independent and original artist from the San Diego area. Our host and co-host create a conversation around the artist and their music while making it a point to allow them to tell their story their way. We don't have any advertisers or sponsors, so anything goes. This is a chance for the artist to just talk to you, the fans, about why they do what they do, what they go through, and how they do this thing we call music. We don't charge the artists for this service. We want it to remain completely free for the artists who need it and the fans that want to find them. That's why we set up a Patreon page where your donation can get you behind-the-scenes access to audio, video, and photos, and even get you direct access to the artists. Go to patreon.com/thedustyfuton for more information. Help us revolutionize the music industry, one artist at a time. Scott Thorn wouldn't exist as a solo artist, that is, if it wasn't for his wife. This singer-songwriter was pushed by his wife to finally take his original stuff public. He humbly thanks her as well as nearly every person he's ever worked with before ever touting his own accomplishments, of which there are many. Without further ado, let's talk to Scott Thorn.
I'm very observant.
I can see that.
I have an attention to detail. Almost too much attention, and it distracts me on a constant basis. It's troublesome. And
It's
it gets
attention deficit disorder, Tyler.
It's not a disorder, though. It's a good thing. I think I'm energy efficient. This world is very demanding, and it really... You have to be capable of doing a lot of things.
It's true.
And I think my body is catching up to that.
It's a busy, busy world. We have a lot to do.
It is. It's a busy, busy world. We are very busy here at the Futon. Welcome again to another episode here.
Yay.
Hello, Kim.
Hello.
How you doing here? Welcome to another episode.
Thank you. I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself, sir?
Always good.
Right
Every
on.
day. I'm finer than the frog's hair. Thank you for asking.
That's pretty fun.
So for those who don't already know, tell the listeners what we do here on the Futon.
Well, we have a shit ton of fun. That's
That pretty much sums it up right there. Okay.
that's it. Nailed it. Who do we have with us today, Tyler?
Oh, we got Scott Thorn in the studio with us today.
Hello, Mr. Thorn.
Hello.
Welcome, Scott.
Yes, welcome.
So what brings you down here? How did Big John trick you into coming out here today, all the way out here?
He's good at this, huh?
So trickery and chicanery, clearly.
He promised you candy and puppies.
It was promise of free promotion and candy. I see a beer, but I don't see candy.
Well, it's liquid candy.
We do. Would you care for a beverage?
I'm actually good at the moment,
Okay.
but don't go far.
We always have such professional musicians on the show. We offer them, and they're like,
true.
no, it's fine. It's like, but you guys brought this beer. It's like, what are you trying to do to us?
I know.
No, it's great. But, for me to loosen up, a little social lubrication stuff. But thank you for coming out here and joining us today. Where'd you come from?
So all the way from National City area.
Oh,
Downtown,
down south.
National City.
Right on.
It's beautiful down there.
Yeah. I just know the mile of cars.
That's the one thing that everybody in San Diego, if you don't live in National City, it's the only thing you ever take out of there is it's a mile of cars, right? Yeah, we drive through there to get to wherever we're going all the time, But so that's not too far.
No, it's actually a new home. I've recently relocated from Washington D.C. area, so I'm back to San Diego after
D.C.
a couple years away.
Congratulations.
What were you doing
Welcome
in
back.
D.C.? Did you work for the government?
I can't tell you because
you have to.
if I told you, I'd have to drink your beer.
That's a fun branch of the government to work for. I can get on board with that one.
Yeah, me too, actually. That sounds pretty damn good.
Have we actually started?
Yeah, we have.
Oh, okay.
So welcome, Big John. Thank you for joining us here today.
Hello, Big
in
John.
case you didn't know, we have Scott Thorn with us today.
Nice to meet you,
He's
Scott.
here to show us a little bit of his music and kind of talk to us about who he is and what he does and how he does and where he'll be
Is that what we do
Yeah.
here on the Futon?
all day long, baby. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
So,
he recently relocated.
Scott, I take it you're not from here.
No, not originally.
No. Where are you from originally?
I'm from the Gulf of Mexico area. So Florida originally.
It's a big area. That's pretty vague.
Well, I'm gonna zero in. I'm gonna go big hands to little hands to a point on the map. So
Okay, cool.
St. Petersburg, Florida area was where I was originally born, right there on the Gulf Coast, and very much a beach town.
It's like the Panhandle, right? Not Peninsula area. Or...
Peninsula area.
Oh, it is Peninsula. Okay.
But quite honestly, I've been all over the place. So I've kind of been one of those nomadic traveling souls, if you will.
Nice.
Not me.
No, I know. Same.
I was put right here, and I've never left.
I moved
know
from Los
nothing about the
Angeles.
outside.
I moved from Los Angeles to San Diego. That was as far as I got.
Right. I was born under a rock, and that's where I stayed. Here I am. Right. I was actually born right in this condo.
In this condo?
In this
He has
condo.
not
Never
left.
left. Yeah.
I don't believe that.
You could tell that nervous laughter from Kim. She wants to get rid of me. She's like, finally. My kids have already moved out. What are you still doing here?
Wow.
Don't
Anyway.
even have a basement.
So you grew up in Florida for the most part, but you moved around quite a bit. It sounds like. So you kind of picked up different pieces of music because it's depending on what side of the tracks you're on, there's different kinds of music all over the place out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly different areas have different influences, and picked that up along the way. I mean, from early days in '80s hair bands to gospel, folk, country music, on and on and on. So I've been up and down the East Coast. I've done the flyover states here and there. I've lived in Texas for a little while. Obviously, California.
The flyover states. That's a great name for states that nobody ever wants to
Right.
go to. Yeah.
Well, especially from California, right? You go, well, those things in between this coast and that one. But yeah, definitely picked up stuff along the way, and it's interesting as you mature. We'll use that word instead of getting older. You certainly
I'm not old. I'm vintage.
Right.
Yeah,
I've got lots of experience.
you certainly, at least I have. You kind of meld all those things, and you take the things you like from different places, and
I could tell the '80s hair metal didn't really stick along too much.
well, yeah. And so I don't have long hair. I think is what he's referring to. Though Big John, if you should see that, it's almost to the middle of his back.
Oh yeah, they got this long, nice, long blonde, clear. It's so blonde you can't even see it.
It's extremely fine. Yeah.
I have that. Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
Awesome. So, a lot of the folk and country and Americana styles seem to kind of stick with you through the years of you maturing and moving around nomadically throughout that corner of the United States. What really, I guess, stuck to you? What moment was there really a point in time that you can say, this is why I do what I do today?
Great question. Because for years I drug a guitar around, and I never really considered myself a songwriter. I would certainly have a notebook. I would write things down. I would get a tune, and quite honestly, it would fade over time. No way to capture it till a few years ago. I am happily married, and I have a wonderful woman who supports me. And a couple of years back, she said, "Hey, stop! Go
Supporting you?
No, go find a way to not let these things go away." So actually, another time when I was living here in the area, I wandered into, it's called Blitz Recording Studios. It's up in Mission Hills area. Wandered in there with a guy named Richard Lavoni, who was my first music producer, and I literally had a guitar and a notebook going, what do I do?
That's awesome.
And he said, well, it depends. What do you want to do? And we started working on one of my first songs, and he basically built a band around me at that point. And that project was about 1.5 years in making, and it became my first album, which I released back in summer of 2016, called Ordinary Day. And from that, there's no putting the cork back in the bottle.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you bring up Americana, because Americana as a subgenre has just most recently come into better focus, I think, with folks like Jason Isbell and Chris Stapleton and Sturgill Simpson and the like. And it's funny because that first album, I released it as I'm using air quotes, rock album. But anybody who's like a heavy rock guy would go, hey, nice country tune, man.
Right.
But you play it from somebody who's, country, like Nashville, they're like, well, hey, nice rock tune.
Yeah,
that's
the in-between
blues
somewhere.
rock.
So I'm somewhere, somewhere in between. And there's certainly influences of rock and country and folk and, a little soul and other things. And I think I as a songwriter, I certainly got better from that first album to what I just released here this month, Broken Horses. And I've kind of found that at least for me, that comfortable spot of where I fit.
Right. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I love the album cover, by the way, on Ordinary Day. That tree covered in shoes almost like the telephone wires in L.A. that Kim is so familiar with.
Yes, and you can purchase things when you
Are
see
you
those
trying
kind
to
of
say
shoes hanging
something about Kim with that little sly comment?
I'm sure Kim has a few of her shoes dangling from
Hey.
some telephone poles up there.
LA's expensive, man.
So where was this taken? This picture here? You said it was.
So the picture on the album is I forget which highway it is, but if you're going from Southern California up to Las Vegas here, you go right through there, and there's this tree on the side of the road. It's this jagged, worn, sun-beaten tree that's just got all these shoes hanging in it. And
it grew them. They're organic.
Tree.
Fertilized with dung.
Organic rubber.
And so I pulled over to the side of the road and I took the picture, and it's just it was so just blazing there, and it kind of burned a hole in my head. The cool kind of story that I heard that goes with it, and I'm sure it's complete and utter bullshit, is
I love those stories, though.
Somebody
The
got
very best, right?
couple gets married in Vegas, right? And they're driving back down to SoCal, and along the way there's an argument, and she finally says, she's in her wedding dress, he's in his tux or whatever. And argument ensues somewhere around the vicinity of this tree. She says, pull over, gets out and starts walking. And on the way, I guess she's not wearing high heels. She's wearing sneakers or whatever. She chucks her shoes in.
Punk
there.
rock wedding.
Totally, right?
Like I said, it's folklore at this point.
Yeah.
But who knows? People just start throwing shoes in a tree. It looks cool.
I feel like there's a song on the album about that somewhere. Like you went really deep into that. Like there was a rabbit hole somewhere that Scott went down and pulled that out of.
Is there?
Yeah.
Can we
Well,
hear it?
I would encourage people to go buy the album and check it out, see if you can figure it out.
Exactly. Right? It may or may not be. I
Did you
like
send
that.
us one song from that album?
What's that?
Did you send us a song from that album? Because you sent us 3 songs.
I did not, but it is. I could give you a website. You can go to it.
Hey,
there
please
we go.
do, please do.
ScottThorn.com.
There you go. You'll
Well,
find his
there we
music
go.
there.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, you can go check out his first album, Ordinary Day. It's got tons of songs on there. It's got actually a total of 10. That's a nice full album there. Mm-hmm. And you can find out. In fact, when you do the research, give us an email and let us know where that song is, and so we'll know.
The mystery will be
Exactly.
solved.
Well, since we're here to help promote his new album, Broken Horses, do you think we should start with the title track?
That would be awesome.
This is Broken Horses by Scott Thorn.
Have you ever felt tiny and small, like nothing you do really matters at all, but you're meant for something bigger in your life, and let your broken horses fly. And there's no sunset on your dreams, no matter how young, old or in between. All you gotta do is believe, and let your broken horses run free, and let your broken horses run free. Tear down the fences, run wild, run free, to greener fields and open country. Let your broken horses run free.
Nice country song, bro.
I was waiting for somebody to
This
say
is a rock song, dude. What are you talking about?
A million things to get in your way, so don't take counsel of your fears today. All you gotta do is believe, and let your broken horses run free, and let your broken horses run free.
Nice.
Totally
Nice soft
awesome.
finish at the end there. I feel like that's the hardest part is like,
Yeah.
how do you close a song out at the end?
Yeah.
It's very tastefully done and very powerful song.
No, thank you.
I loved that.
Yeah.
That was the title track off his album, Broken Horses. It was just released on the 15th of February of 2019. You can get it now. Go check it out at scottthorn.com. By the way, that's Scott with 2 T's. Just to
The
mention.
right way.
So there's actually so there's 3 T's in a row there. Just
It's
as-
a lot of teas, yeah. So, Scott, who are the players on this record with you?
Well, thanks for asking. Some friends I met in D.C. So the music producer is Marco Del Mar. Marco also plays all the electric guitars. I'm playing the acoustic on there.
Okay.
Violin player, amazing young lady, Tiffany Shanta. In fact, she just played last weekend for Michael Bublé in D.C.
Wow.
Michael Bubbly?
Big players.
Here we go again.
And on drums, my buddy Eric Selby.
Right on. Are you guys playing out?
We did. But obviously, I moved here by myself. They wouldn't come. I don't know why.
So how long? When did you land back in San Diego?
So right at last fall, and it's kind of a moving transition, but fall time frame. So I'm still actually trying to get established back in the music scene
Oh,
here.
got it. Okay, well, cool.
How did you end up all the way out here?
Yeah.
'Cause we started you out all the way on the East Coast, moving
Florida.
around there in Florida, and now here you are. I feel like we skipped a huge
We
section of this,
did.
like Jesus' teenage years.
Right,
Like,
right.
We miss a huge section of this story. Let's go back and rewind.
Yeah.
Well, I won't go into the detail because again, I'll have to drink your beer.
Okay.
But my
I
day,
think he wants
Nice.
a beer.
I know. I think
Maybe
so.
after the interview / conversation / what we do here.
but the day job did bring me back. Is why I'm back in the area. Yeah, if I had a choice, I'd certainly do this full time.
Yeah.
But I need more than my mom and my wife to like me on Facebook.
Right? It's like, thanks both of my fans. I love you all. You're great people.
My favorite ladies.
My mom likes all of my posts.
I get the heart.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's mom's for
Someone
you.
likes me.
So that was a pretty wicked little violin solo. Who was playing the fiddle there?
So that was Tiffany Shanta. She plays in a number of bands in the DC area, classically trained. I think again, if I could ever get a band and go on tour, I would scoop her up in a
Yeah.
heartbeat. Just amazing.
I always give
Yeah, she was.
mad respect to people who can play the violin or fiddle
Yeah.
really well. Because, I mean, I tried to, I used to play the cello when I was a young kid. And giving any young child a stringed instrument is torture for anybody in the near vicinity of them. It's awful. And
Yeah.
I admit that.
Yeah.
But I've even
Any
my
instrument,
guitar,
generally.
I'm thinking like as a guitar player at bass, I can pick that thing up and make something out of it. No.
Right.
It takes a finesse and something. So anybody who can do that well, like I bow down to them. So Tiffany, well done. Thank you so much for doing that.
Concur. Fabulous.
What was that song about?
So broken horses, obviously a metaphor, and really, when I play this out, it's an intro. If you've ever had doubts, you've ever had fear, have you ever had that inner voice tell you can't do something?
Like writing songs, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. I mean, it took a while, certainly, but that's really what it is. It's kind of an ode to that, to ignore the fear, take the challenge, go out there, put yourself out there, and let it run free.
Go big or go home.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad your wife pushed you off the couch. Brought you in the studio. Get
on out of here.
Right? I did it with my husband. I'm like, what are you doing sitting there noodling on it? Let's go.
So when did you pick up a guitar?
Oh gosh, years ago. I'll say I was probably when I left home as a kid. There was one in the baggage as I left, and I didn't know how to play it. I had one for probably 10 years, and
I
didn't
just
even
need a
take it
reason
out
for
of a
chicks to
case.
think I'm cool. So I'm trying to figure out a
Exactly.
couple things.
I have the guitar I had when I was 13. Still don't know how to play it.
You'll go downtown carrying
Never
a guitar
too late.
case.
Anyway,
You picked up bass anyway.
I did.
Screw the guitar. One
Yeah.
bass.
guitar-ish.
It's guitarish.
And probably like maybe a lot of kids in high school. I certainly had 3 friends and a volume knob all the way to 11 that annoyed the neighbors to all heck. But yeah, it took a couple years. I maybe had two lessons. I'm certainly a rhythm player. I'm not a lead guy, but kind of self-taught along the way and picking up.
Just needed a couple things to kind of like figure out from some professional hands. But then once you figured that, just like okay, I'll figure it out on my own.
Yeah. I'm running through scales.
What got you on the Gibson?
So yeah,
Money.
this well.
Well, that's what it takes to get a Gibson.
Well, again, that thing we call experience. So I've had some crappy guitars along the way, and And I remember, you go to places, Guitar Center or whatever, you go back in the little acoustic room, and you're like, wow, this sounds so much better than that piece of crap I have back home. This one's actually, I think I got on reverb.com, so the website where people resell stuff, and it was a Canadian singer-songwriter. So this is a Gibson J45, 2001. The J45 is probably the most recorded acoustic guitar ever in history. And I love the sound. It's just the sweet spot for me. It hits the ears right. I like it.
Well, damn, you're in San Diego now. You need to switch to Taylor.
True that. And I have been to the Taylor plant. I took the tour. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But now
it's really cool that we in San Diego have Taylor guitars right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do so many wonderful things with schools and things.
It's not like they don't advertise for us. It's just we're supporting local.
No smack talk to Taylor, but Gibson does really kind of envelop that folk sound. I think a lot of people out there, on the East Coast,
Those other places that aren't California.
Exactly, out from under my rock. I feel like they record mostly with Gibson, so that's the sound that everybody is used to. And kind of has trained themselves to be like, this is what folk and this is what it sounds like. Not that Taylor can't get that, but anyway.
It's that tone. And
I'm so jealous of your Gibson.
It is a rather
little bit of a
guitar.
hate inside.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hopefully, actually, in a little bit, hopefully we're going to get to hear that sound come out when you play a song for us. Are you going to?
Yeah, and if it's cool, I'll world premiere song that's never been heard anywhere.
A debuton. Yes.
2 in a row.
I love
Tyler.
those.
Woo.
I love those. Let's not get there just yet.
Okay.
No, I feel like we need to stretch this down just a little bit here. Let's talk about some other people that you were recording with here. Who was doing your harmonies?
So thanks. Also, beautiful human being, a friend of mine, a singer-songwriter in her own right. Her name's Mycenea Worley. She's singing backup harmonies on that last tune. When we get to Forgive Me, it's a duet. You'll hear her full, powerful, amazing woman siren that she is.
Ooh, let's save that one for the end.
Yes.
But she lives in Pennsylvania, does the singer-songwriting thing. We actually met at a songwriting retreat back here in California.
Really?
So I think maybe 2 years ago now. So Judy Stakey is a former music executive for Chappelle Warner, and she opened her own songwriting retreat / songwriter support kind of thing, and she started doing retreats once a year, and it's grown and grown and grown. So she's an amazing person. She's all about the song and really opening songwriters' minds, doing co-writes and putting different people together. So I went cool. Kind of on a whim to the songwriting retreat. Met Mycenea among some other wonderful people. And but I fell in love with her voice and the way she sings, and I'm sure you'll agree when we hear her.
I already do.
Volume.
Yeah, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
You
Just
can
amazing.
Tell.
You talked her up enough that
I know. John wants her phone number.
Well, I do have to say that a woman with a good voice just really gets me somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. See,
Somewhere.
It grabs me by the heart.
He had to pause. Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? It was a pause.
A couple years back, you were part of something called the Acoustic Guitar Project. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Tell us a little bit about that. I'm curious.
Yeah.
So in the D.C. area, so it's I forget the name of the gentleman now, but it's there's a website. It's the acousticguitarproject.com. And they have sponsor cities. DC happens to be one, and this is worldwide. It's grown and grown. There's probably 60 cities across the world that participate. And what it is there's a guitar that's donated for that city. And I was fortunate enough to be selected one of 5 songwriters for 2017. And the way it works is you get the guitar for 7 calendar days, and you have to write a song, and it comes with a small recorder. You have to write a song on that guitar and record it, and forward that, and do a little video. It's on YouTube.
That's really cool.
And write a song and upload it, and then at the end, so it goes week. So after the 5 weeks, then we all get together and we had a show, and we all performed our Acoustic Guitar Project songs for an audience, which was very cool. And it was a great honor just out of all the tremendously talented people in the area that they actually let me borrow the guitar for a week and try it out.
Wow.
That's a cool concept.
Did it like kind of travel around everybody? And
It does, and everybody signs the guitar. So there's
Awesome.
I forget how many years it's gone through in DC now, but people are writing smaller now because the space is running out. But
Shoot.
very very cool concept, and it's all nonprofit, and it's really about the music and the song and just trying to connect people.
that's neat.
That reminds me of
really neat.
there's this whole same concept with these very rare violins. I forget what they're called.
Stradivarius.
Yeah, the
or something.
Stradivarius. They did the same thing with that, but it's like a year at a time or a couple of years at a time. Like there's a guy who goes around touring right now. He has one, and he calls himself like the $1 million violinist or something like that. And he's
He
promoting
really
the
sucks.
hell
It's
out of
just his violin costs $1 million.
it. Exactly.
Elton's piano, right?
Yeah. So it strikes me similar to that concept, but I like the idea that is now. Do they take the guitar and auction it off for charity or anything?
Well, to date, it hasn't. It's brought it up. So there's a curator, and I think it
Wow.
passes around from year to year. But the curator holds it until the next cycle, and then they pick 5 songwriters, and it comes back out for the next year.
Wow. It's kind of an honor to be able to be picked for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
That's all I can say about that. Is
Yeah,
wow.
I know, huh?
Right?
Wow.
Owen Wilson's in the background going, wow.
Keanu Reeves over in the corner going, whoa.
Jesus.
And Johnny Depp's like, wow.
How we doing on time, Big John? Are we ready for a song?
Of course we're ready for
Let's
a
do a
song.
live one. I want to do a live one. Let's hear that
Oh,
Gibson.
Okay.
I've been staring at it long enough. My mouth is watering. And what's the name of the song that we're going to be doing here, Scott?
So the name of the song is "Picture Under My Window," or excuse me, "Picture Under My Pillow." I can remember the name of my music.
This is the first time anyone's going to hear it.
It's a debutant.
So I have played it live, but it certainly hasn't been out on any type of airways or electrons anywhere. I'm in the process of recording it.
Oh, okay. So
and
it's
this-
not on.
Thank you for correcting.
So are we,
This is
actually.
only Electron. There's no airwaves here.
we are in the process of recording it as well.
We are.
First recording, right?
And and San Diego is very much days of old. It's very much a port city and a sailor's town. And this song is about a sailor long at sea, thinking about that someone special back home.
I got to put on my fleet hat now for this,
There you
though. There we go. Speaking of sailors.
Good.
I got your picture under my pillow. Remind me that I'm not alone, that there's someone out there waiting for this sailor to come home. I got your picture under my pillow. At night our dreams are safe in my head, and tomorrow we'll face a danger. But tonight I'm strong as the loving you give. And we're out here riding steel instead of home holding your hand. What we're doing is bigger than all of us. And tonight I'm strong as the loving you give. Yeah, yeah. Captain says we're months from home, and I can feel each second pass. Feel the ache burning in my bones. till the day I'm back in your arms. Yeah, I got your picture under my pillow. Tonight our dreams are safe in my head. Oh yeah. And tomorrow I'm looking at danger's ugly face. But tonight I'm strong and not weak, maybe mad but not meek. And I got to get to you, 'cause I'm loving you, girl. Oh, I got your picture under my pillow. Tonight our dreams are safe in my head. And tomorrow I'm looking at danger. But tonight I'm strong. 'Cause I'm loving you, girl.
That is a badass tune.
There's that rock and roll punching through. That's why they say that.
There's a little in there.
A little bit, yeah. Holy cow, that was good. That one was called Under My Pillow, you said?
Picture Under My Pillow.
Picture Under My Pillow. And that one, you are still in the process of recording.
firm.
Not released yet.
Yeah.
So
Unreleased?
stay tuned.
We just
Scott
recorded
Thorn
it,
fan.
and it'll be released soon.
There you go. You can put it on your
true.
live EP and you got
Right
coming
here
up.
on the Dusty Futon.
Ooh,
Right.
I like that.
So subscribe today.
If you haven't
Shameless
already,
self-promotion.
hey, that's good for that. You know, this is a day and age where you need to do that.
It is. Do you have any other social media besides your website where people can find you?
Yes, so the website we said, scottthorn.com, and Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are all at symbol Scott Thorn Music.
Okay. At Scott Thorn Music.
With 2 T's. Well, three T's. In the-
SCOTTTHORN.
There you go.
Bam.
Yeah. so when did you start being Scott Thorn and really start putting yourself out there?
It came after recording that album. So I recorded that album here.
That's Ordinary Day.
Ordinary Day. Thank you. The first one back in June 16. So I hadn't really played live prior to that. So again, I walked into the studio, notebook, guitar, and kind of came out, the butterfly on the other end, if you will. And now I had these songs and this guitar, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to share.
I like to play. So were you in any projects before, just doing solo Scott stuff, or
Nothing live, just in my living room, So I put myself out there, and that was a scary thing, because live performance and obviously in a studio are completely different animals.
Yes.
So I did what a lot of people do and should do. You find an open mic and you go do a terrible job, and you go home and you cry, and you figure out what you did wrong, and you go back again and
Right.
again until
We're
you
really learning
Yeah.
about
Figure it
Scott
out.
you
Thorn
got to
right
draw a
now.
whole lot of crappy pictures to finally realize what a good picture is.
You
know?
do, and as a songwriter, great segue.
Yeah.
You got to write the crappy songs to get to the good songs to get to the great songs.
Right.
Every song I've written is gold.
Unless you're Big John.
You certainly took a leap. I mean, I can hear a lot of confidence in what you do. What you just put out there in the mic, and there was so much power. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, you've only been doing this for 3 years. Like, when did you even realize, like, oh, hey, I can sing?
I was going to
good
say,
enough
right?
to get in front of a microphone in front of people.
That's a good point.
How does that just happen, It boggles
great.
my mind. That's awesome.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Self-trained, like in your car, just singing along to
Car,
some
Did you do
Black Rose or
karaoke?
something?
I didn't.
Okay, see, there's the key. We've only had one karaoke star on the Dusty Futon so far.
That's true.
And because honestly, the karaoke is not a place to really discover your talents, because everybody's drinking and everybody thinks you sound
Including the person
awesome
singing.
because everybody else in the pool of awesomeness isn't anywhere close. So if you can even remotely sing, going to karaoke, you're a god.
There you go.
So it's not
You're
really.
you're saving the room,
Yeah, that's all you're doing. You're not going to make money. You're not going to be a Scott Thorn. So
No, but I mean,
you
for
might
me,
be a thorn in someone's side, but not a Scott Thorn.
I would be terrified to do what you do, because I can hit maybe 2 notes at best. That's about it. So I let my fingers do it. But I mean, so you pretty much just taught yourself. Have you done it since you were like a kid?
I mean, singing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Everybody sings along, right?
Yeah, sure. That's a kind of a silly question, I guess.
But like, where you're the center of attention, people are stopping and listening to you. No, it was just here in the last couple of years, and since you asked, in true to divulge everything, the first time I went to an open mic, I couldn't even. My hands were shaking so bad I couldn't even make a chord frame. And I ended up just like tapping the guitar and like singing the rest and saying thank you. And then
Sweat.
Wow.
and walking off the stage.
I know that exact feel. My first time, I was at Rebecca's coffee shop, and unfortunately, that's closed down now. I think
Because of you. Thanks.
I was so
Way to
bad.
go, Big John.
No, I had all my friends come out, and I was like shaking so bad I could not strum a chord to save my life, and I was like, I was missing things left and right. So nervous.
Well, and you're by yourself too, so it's not only that you haven't sung in front of people, but you're solo. So it's like table for one, everyone's staring right at you.
And when you're in a band, you're at least like, I can point a finger at like 3 other guys.
You dropped the bass note, man.
Yeah. But by yourself,
And
you're
drum solo.
Yeah, I mean, you're up there. It's nothing but you and a whole bunch of tomatoes out there coming at you. So, I kudos to you for getting the balls and coming out there and doing what you do. And it sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Keep
thanks,
on
man.
doing it. I can't wait to hear the next album, because if it's more like that, I mean, it's
Well, that's also something to note. What, you've been doing this for 3 years?
Yes.
And you've already got 2 albums out, or one's an EP and one's a full length?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's still, you've been producing. You're already putting stuff down, and you just debuted a new song right now that you're going to be recording soon. So you've already got a full another album ready to go.
I've got notebooks and notebooks.
Exactly. So you're prolific. Like, you're putting a lot of work into this. So it's not just hey, I decided one day my wife kicked me off the couch to go play, and here I am doing
You're too
this.
good. Get out of here.
You found a passion in this on top of a voice for you to put stuff out there, and that's incredible.
No, and that's great insight, because it really is that. It's passion. You got to have the drive, and you got to have something to say.
Yeah.
And songwriting, I'm sure, is different for everybody. The cool thing about being a songwriter is you can write about anything, anything you want, and there's really no rule set.
No,
fiction
I remember
or
writing a
nonfiction.
poem about Hardee's when I worked there.
you mean Carl's Jr.
Well, back in the East Coast, they called it Hardee's until Carl's Jr. bought them, and they called it Star Hardee's. But yeah, no,
That's dumb.
I used to work for them in Georgia, and I wrote a poem about that, and it was like a song, basically.
There you go.
It's anything, and that's kind of like what punk rock is. It's teen angst, and a lot of people start with that as their first entry into music.
I'm so interested to hear this poem about Hardee's.
You've lost him.
God, I know,
You
yeah.
lost
Was it
him.
anything like that Matthew McConaughey commercial where it's like, Western bacon
It's the
cheeseburger?
only place open.
If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face.
Right. Just like,
That is
That was their old
awful.
catchphrase.
That's
Yeah.
awful.
Oh, that was real?
Yeah, if it doesn't get if it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. That used to be one of their catchphrases.
There you go.
Yeah.
so
Anyway,
let's go back to the true songwriting here. Absolutely, yeah. And you're right. I love that. Yeah, you can write about anything, fiction, nonfiction. That last song that you wrote was about a sailor being out and basically waiting to come home. And
Yeah.
I mean, you tell us.
Yeah. Well, no, it's simply that, and just kind of the thought and the feeling of there are young people out there, and they're far from home, and they're doing things, whether that's commercial or in their military or whatever, but they're months away from home. And so I guess there's satellites and you can communicate and stuff, but you're still physically gone and apart.
Right.
So you still have that longing. So in my head, it's it's a love story. It's a hey, I miss that person, and I didn't use gender or anything.
Yeah.
Well, I get a little bit, I guess, but so
sometimes you can't help though.
yeah,
Saying this, that, it, at, all that stuff. It just doesn't really sound good in music sometimes.
Yeah.
Still up for interpretation.
When you start going, it's raining chicks, it just sounds weird. It's not the same anymore.
Vegans get all mad at you and the vegetarians.
Yeah. Jesus.
You got a whole can of worms. going on.
I like there's a quote I took from your website here that kind of touches on that and stuff, and it says, "A song is simply a story. It's the portrayal of a tale in its finest rhythmic form. A song conveys an emotion, an event in time, or a person and their response. The representations are endless. Songwriters are the keepers of the time and what is felt by the society in which they live. I thought that was really deep.
Wow.
That was profound. I think I was drinking, but yeah.
I was gonna guess smoking pot, so one thing or the other.
It was beautiful.
Hey, at least you thought to write it down, because I come up with some of the greatest stuff when I'm high or drunk, but I forget to write it down.
There you have it.
But if you think
And then a
about
Hardy's poem ends up coming out of it.
But if you think about it, there's probably songs when it comes on the radio, it takes you back to a moment in time, right?
Oh yeah.
And there's hundreds of them out there, whether it's a high school and a dance or first date or something else. It takes you to that moment in time, and it takes you right back there. So that's why I think that song keepers are the keepers of the time.
I like that.
That's cool. That's cool.
One more quote, just to get random here for a second. This is actually
Wait,
by
is this from
Scott
him?
Thorn. This
Oh,
is by
it is.
Scott
Okay.
Thorn, and says, "If I was a truck, I'd be worn but well cared for. Designed from the frame up to help people do their chores. You might find me out in front or any local hardware store or the ranches and the farms throughout this land or a country boy's front yard."
There you
That
go.
soung like a song itself.
Yeah,
You made it
right?
sound like an
that's
infomercial.
that's a Tinder profile. That's what that is.
Ding, ding,
So
ding, ding.
you pulled that off Instagram. It actually is. It's the first verse of a new song I'm working on.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, cat's out of the bag.
There you go. Another debutant here.
Yeah. From the sound of an infomercial voice.
And for those of
I'd
you
be
that,
a well-used truck built from the ground up.
and for those of you that can't see Tyler's face, he just had a big smile and he was just saying the words, and it was like
Yeah.
epic.
You're such a nerd, dude.
It was.
I love it.
I am
love
such
it. You
a
nerd out
nerd.
on music.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
was excited.
I found that on your Facebook page because Scott Thorn is on Facebook as
Yes.
well as Reverb Nation.
Yes.
You can
that
listen
is
to his music there.
That's where we found you. Yeah.
Hey,
That's
thank you, Reverb Nation.
Love Reverb Nation.
Yes.
Sam.
They're really good at connecting artists, especially independent artists, with anything you need, really.
They are, and I've gotten a couple gigs just kind of random out of the blue. Somebody touring through town, going, "Hey, we kind of have a similar genre. Would you open for me?"
Very cool.
Yes.
Okay. The answer is yes, Alex.
All right, I'll take it. Yeah.
For
Where are you coming? Playing any shows here in the near future?
I'm glad you asked because I'm actually trying to. I just started opening the calendar and taking a look.
Oh,
So,
Good. So those of you listening, take notes. Scott's going to give you some contact information right now.
yes.
Find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Find me on all those
Scott
things. Reach out, contact me. I'm looking to fill my calendar. I've been focusing on getting this release out, which obviously is out. I've actually have a radio promotion campaign going on through a small promotional company and trying to get it out to the Americana radio network.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Hopefully that'll work out. And I'm going to Nashville next month, and I've got one, maybe two meetings with publishers. Talk about this, talk about songwriting. So while I do love performing and I do like singing, songwriting and like somebody famous and rich, I guess, liking one of my songs and recording it would be one of those life make the check in the box, and I feel like I've accomplished something. So that's really kind of the end goal is as a songwriter to be a professional songwriter and have something go out there.
You're only 3 years in. I think you're doing pretty good so
Yeah.
far. You've got 2 albums down. You got another one on the way.
And
Some
you got a
great
meeting
songs.
with people in Nashville to
And you
work
got a
on
Gibson.
That. That's, yeah.
You're doing all right.
Oh gosh.
It's interesting you mentioned that, like being a songwriter for somebody who's more famous, and that's a lot of people who get into music, they want to be the famous one. But when you're a singer-songwriter, when your songwriter mentality and your songwriter focused and story-driven, it's a different thing you don't want to perform your songs as much as you want other people to perform them for you, so they can add their characteristic, add their tonality, add their spin on it.
Add their signature on that check with your name on it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was just adding my 2 cents, encapsulating what it means to be a songwriter.
It does. It's a different
I'm
animal.
trying to throw some big words to Scott. He's educated. I can tell. You know your stuff.
I are good. I reckon. Yeah.
Hooked on phonics.
So, Scott, where have people seen you around town here?
So here locally, I played a couple small places. Actually, great sound system, fun bar. So Navajo Live.
Yes.
Yes.
And I played the City Pub 2 weeks ago.
Oh, right on.
And that was one of those random gigs. I had a booking agent contact me, and this singer-songwriter from Italy who was actually visiting, played a couple gigs in San Diego and a couple in L.A. So the booking agency was out of New York City, and they called me up and said, "Hey."
How's it?
I said, "Hi, you guys." And they said, "Hey, will you open for this guy? You're local." And I said, "Well, the answer again is yes."
Once you say no to something
does
like
the
that,
Pope
they
wear a
don't call
funny
you
hat?
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do have some other inquiries out, and again, always soliciting. And if you want me to come, I'm happy to come sing, and I'm cheap.
But don't say that.
He's cheap. He's easy. He says yes all the time. We've established, right?
So you do have a Tinder profile. I'm sure.
No,
No, you're married, right? Happily married.
Happily
so no,
married.
yeah.
happily married. Thank you.
Yes.
Reinforce that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we get that duet.
Oh, that's right. I think it's time. I think we're right about that moment.
You going
where-
to play it, or you want me to intro it, or are you just going to do it?
Yeah, well, let's
Intro.
talk about it a
Intro
little bit
it
since
first,
we're
yeah.
pretty much going to close out the episode after the end of this song. Let's talk a little bit about it, what it's called and what it's about.
Okay, so that amazing singer-songwriter and voice, Mycenea Worley, she's my duet partner on this and co-writer on this song. And we did it long distance, and then she was living up in Pennsylvania, came down to D.C. and recorded it with me. It's really from the perspective of a guy on death row who's now coming to the bitter end, if you will.
Yeah.
And he also has to, if you can picture him being in the execution chamber and also looking out at the wife of the guy he's there
audience.
for. Yeah, so that's kind of perspective.
Wow.
So this is going to be deep.
Yeah.
We're gonna close this out on a high note, guys.
Woo-wee.
Hold on to something. Grab your tissues.
Well, forgive me.
No, this is going to be good. I can't wait to hear Mycenea's harmonies with you and stuff. So this one is again called
Forgive Me.
Forgive Me, and it's off of the latest album, Broken Horses.
Broken Horses.
Perfect. Very nice.
Wow, the arrangement on that was really nice. Well done.
I loved it. I love that slide guitar and those chicka. That's like guitar terminology, by the way. Guitar terminology.
I like the claps in the background. That was pretty cool.
I love the percussion too. How simple it was. It was basically just a kick drum and then a couple like snaps and claps.
Yep.
You know,
Exactly, that's what it was.
and it was perfect. You know, it didn't need anything else. The guitar.
He's really good at dissecting music. Can you
Yeah,
tell?
and, it's what I do. I'm terrible. I'm terrible with lyrics. Like I could maybe picked out like maybe one thing. I'm hoping he said "forgive me" somewhere in there because that's the name of the song. But everything else, I dissected all by the music.
I don't think was the words "forgive me" in that song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't paying. I was listening to music too.
Wipe sweat.
I
with
was
brow.
listening to the lyrics and her voice. Your voices together were really nice.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Very nice. Yeah, well done, Miss Mycenea Worley.
Yes.
Very nicely done. Do you also sing her parts? Because she's on the East Coast. I imagine she doesn't fly all the way out here
Sing
to go
her
to the city pub with you.
So I have sung that a couple times where I sing her part, but
Awesome.
not.
Do you go
not,
up falsetto? Like higher.
John, are you available?
Hey, John is for hire.
I actually, yeah.
He's cheap. He's on Tinder and he's cheap. Oh, okay. And he says yes.
Swipe right.
You're in for a good time.
Yes.
Oh, Don, I'm there.
Yeah.
Sold. When's the album come out? Jesus. Totally got taken off myself here now. Wasn't I?
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Super cool.
That's what happens towards the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So this record was just released, the broken.
So just released February 15th.
Wow, it's fresh.
And I'm
Super
going to
fresh.
brag a little bit.
Okay.
Broken Horses is now a 3-time award-winning song from different songwriting contests.
Oh, that's
So,
fantastic.
It's 8 days old. How the what?
well, I may have submitted it before the release.
This thing was a born a winner.
That's cool.
Pretty much.
That's
That's
cool.
really cool. So go ahead, people listening in, go to scottthorn.com. Check him out, Reverb Nation and Facebook. He's got 2 albums out, including this one, Broken Horses.
Now, is that streaming on Spotify?
So it is delayed on Spotify. They've got some. Yeah, it's on every other electronic medium out there: Amazon, Google, iTunes, all the rest. Spotify.
Little known fact: if you've got Amazon Prime, you've got free Amazon Music, and if it's on Amazon Music, bam,
It's there.
There it is.
download the app and type in Scott Thorn.
Well, and he calls it an EP, but it does have 6 songs on it.
Yeah. Well, that's the earlier one.
Oh, this is the early one? No, this is the new
Was
one.
that the new
so-
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So maybe it's an.
So it's like an
MP.
extra large. I was thinking EP too, but it's an extra large EP.
There you go. Yeah, I like that.
It's an
Sorry.
EEP.
It's an EE.
right.
It gets 2 E's. It gets a couple of T's.
So you've got Ordinary Day, which also had a couple of award winners or a couple accolades there as well.
The song "Watch Out Wichita," which ironically is a song about an angry woman comparing her to a tornado.
Oh,
That's brilliant,
nicely
actually.
done.
I know her.
There's a radio show in the UK called the Big Fat White Americana Hour, and they picked it as the within the top 5 songs of 2016 when I released it.
Oh, that's
Nicely
Top
done.
5.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Scott, thank you again for coming out here all the way from National City.
Mile of car.
You made it through the line.
The mile.
Well, I want to thank you guys because you're out here every day, and obviously I can see by the buckets of money laying around that you're rolling in it. But I appreciate that
Is it my Bolex that I'm wearing?
that you support original, independent, and local songwriters and musicians, and that's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate being appreciated. So again,
Yes, we
Scott,
enjoy
thank you
it.
for doing what you do. We can't wait to hear more from you in the future. You got more stuff in the works, so stay tuned, all you Scott Thorn fans. This has been the Dusty Futon. I'm Tyler.
Spicy Kim.
Big John.
And
And Scott
Scott
Thorn.
Thorn.
Scott Thorn.
Yes.
Exactly.
Big thank you to Scott Thorn for taking a seat on the futon in Rancho Bernardo. Thank you to Tyler Johnson for hosting this episode. Major thank you to Spicy Kim of Wicked Tone Entertainment for co-hosting this episode and for letting us record in her home studio. I'm Big John, engineer, editor, and producer of this production of the Dusty Futon LLC. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to get all the newest episodes. You can find out how on www.dustyfuton.com. If you love what we are doing and want to support our cause like Rick and Nicholas and our many other supporters, please consider going to patreon.com/thedustyfuton and pledging to support for as little as $1 a month. Thank you again for listening to this episode of The Dusty Futon.